If you were told that you had to miss 2.3 classes per week, would that stress you out or would that excite you? Well, odds are that would probably be really exciting at first, but then later on it would probably get stressful once the workload built up. So in an article by David Maltz that was published in February of 2011, he explains that Division I baseball players last year missed a total of 2 classes every week. So since I'm an athlete here at Tech, I'm going to be talking about the student-athlete struggles, especially one with a challenging major. I'm a biology major trying to go to pharmacy school after. And so since you guys are students at Tech, you've probably had classes with at least one athlete before, and you've noticed that they're always missing and they're always gone, and they obviously are missing attendance points, having to make up tests, and you're wondering if they're getting fair treatment or not. Well, in an article posted by Terry Knapp in 2001, he explains that students are very supportive of the athletic teams there, but they also do question whether they are serious in school or not. So I'm going to be informing you about the student-athlete struggles that are due to the lack of time allowed to focus on schooling, the misconception that athletes have it easier in the classroom, and how professors are less understanding than some are, making it harder on student-athletes. So now that I've told you what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to move on to my first point, which is that athletes have less time to focus on school. Division I athletes are allowed 20 hours per week when they're in season to be devoted towards their athletics. Well, a lot of teams go over that limit. And according to the 2001 NCAA survey cited in the UNC lawsuit, athletes confessed that they had about 30 hours of time devoted to athletics per week, and some sports even reported that they had about 40 hours, which obviously this is exceeding the 20-hour rule. And these are filled with 6 a.m. workouts, 2 to 3, 4 hours of practice during the afternoon, and not to mention the bus rides during the midweek where you have to miss class and you're on the bus for like hours. So those are time that all could be devoted towards school and studying, but we don't have that time because we have it devoted towards our athletics. So now that I've talked to you about that, I'm going to move on to my second point, which is the misconception that athletes have it easier in the classroom. Athletes are frequently missing lectures and tests, and students are wondering if they have the equal fairity that they have. And the truth is that athletes usually don't make up tests after when they've been gone. They usually are supposed to make them up before. And for the attendance points, they usually just miss out on them. They don't get to make them up, and they don't get free points. They just don't get them and have to make that up elsewhere. And so in an article by Lynn O'Shaughnessy, written in 2011, he states that athletes were in their uniform more than they were in school, and that's so true. We miss so much school, and we're always in our uniforms practicing or playing a game. We don't have that much time devoted towards school, and teachers don't make it easier for us. They treat us just the same, but there are athletes who try to abuse the power and to manipulate teachers into giving them special treatment just because they are an athlete, and because of that, it gives all athletes a bad name, which, now that I've explained that, I'm going to move on to my third point, which ties in with that one, about how some professors are less understanding than others. And this is due to the fact that there are athletes who abuse the title of being a student athlete, so they make it harder on the athletes who do actually care, because teachers have had to be more stern with athletes because they'll say they're out of town and miss class. So at the beginning of class, you usually have to give them the sheet that explains all the times they are going to be gone, and you have to select a time to make up your test, always usually before. But there's usually just a category that athletes don't care about school and they think they get special treatment, which some athletes do think that, but there are more athletes that actually do care about their school and don't think they're entitled to special treatment just because they have the athlete title. But there are professors that, because of those people, are more stern with athletes and actually make it harder for us and more stressful for the people who actually do care. So those are the struggles that student athletes go through, those being that there's less time allowed for class studies, that there's a misconception that it's easier for athletes in the classroom, and that the professors are less understanding than some, making it harder for other athletes. And so I just want to conclude that there are two different categories of athletes. There are ones that don't care, and there are ones that do. So don't put athletes in the same category, only put the athletes that deserve to be in the selfish category as they get there themselves. And here are my note cards. Thank you.